My name is Atindria Bose. I am the country manager for India and I work for Sony Computer Entertainment Europe, which takes care of the PlayStation brand of products, both hardware and software for the Indian market. Sony Computer Entertainment Europe is basically in charge of PlayStation brand for Europe, Middle East, part of Africa, Oceania and India. In terms of the territory allocation, this is more on the basis of the footprint of the PAL territories, PAL as against the NTSC territory. So this is the PAL territory which is aligned to Europe. Exact numbers are a bit difficult to gauge for Indian market because there's a mix of both official as well as the unofficial channel product that comes in. What is important is like how the base for these consoles are getting created. If I look at a PlayStation 2, which is the oldest after the PS1, we already have perhaps around 3 lakh plus console base in India. Similarly, if I look at the PlayStation Portable, we already have a console base of around say 75 to a lakh, nothing less than a lakh. PlayStation 3 is a bit difficult to gauge because it's a recent launch. There is an official channel. Our estimate of the unofficial channel is a bit difficult to have. So I will not put a number to that. But in terms of the growth perspective, in terms of our recent experience, the numbers are very much on the up curve. This year we have seen nothing less than a 5x to 10x growth across the different segments. See, like each console has its own and it's not restricted only to the Sony Computer Entertainment created games. You have the sports category, like the FIFA 08 is of EA had been very successful on the PlayStation 3, though it's a recent launch. And I'm happy to say at this point of time, between PlayStation 3 and EA, we are doing something called FIFA Interactive World Cup for India market. India is one of the few markets where it is happening, and it will happen in January, December. Then in terms of the genre, it's pretty much the same. Like you have the first person shooter, you have the racing games, you have the adventure games, sports. Each of the genre has its own following, and now what we are trying from Sony's side is create a genre that goes beyond the gaming community, so to say. It allows people to jump into the games much faster and allows you to play those games in a family environment with your friends, family. One of the first in line is the SingStar game that we have launched yesterday. SingStar is a huge music franchise internationally. To address the India market, we are now looking at the Bollywood franchise, and this is the first in line, the SingStar Bollywood that has been launched. Two things, this is a market entry strategy that every company follows, and there are strategy. In terms of our distribution, the hardware distribution happens through Sony India. The software distribution happens through Milestone Interactive. In terms of Milestone's understanding of the gaming segment, in terms of its understanding of the entertainment business, the distribution, we found it the perfect partner to have in India. Even as we go forward in terms of the distribution, in terms of the Sony Computer Entertainment as an organization, we don't see ourselves getting into direct distribution. We will always have partners, well evaluated and very strong partners like Milestone Interactive. Sony India is our distribution, and if you look at each of these, they are organization by their own right, by their own merit. These are not the traditional distributors or small town redistributing points. They are organization in their own right. Obviously, once you say India market is important, you cannot but synchronize the launch of the best lineup that you have. We are currently selling the 60 GB. The 40 GB has been launched in many of the European markets. It's just a logistics issue that we might have a 1.5 months delay, but by the time we hit December, you will have the 40 GB in the market at a price point that matches what is happening in the European market. Two parts to it. One of the reason why when we launched the 60 GB, the PlayStation 3, important factor was people should have adequate choice of games to play on. Now, as the total number of games on the PlayStation 3 has increased, and a person can have his own adequate album across the genre. We don't feel like the backward compatibility is any more so important, because a person who has bought a PlayStation 3 is actually looking for an experience which is PlayStation 3, a high definition experience, complexity of the games. And once you have that wide range in the PlayStation 3 games, I think it's adequate that we don't have to depend on the backward compatibility, but create an album by its own merit. PC gaming is perhaps in any nascent stage of market. The whole gaming market as such is going through a stage of nascency. It has not matured, but it shows a potential that is huge. The Indian market potential is huge, but are we right up there in a matured stage of the market? No, we are in a pretty early stage of the market. A lot of people are trying to experience gaming through the computer games, but in terms of how the market is panning out, we have every reason to believe that it will pan out the same way as the international markets have panned out. There will be computer gaming segment, there will be the console gaming segment, and also like in India market, you will have the internet or the mobile gaming segment. The computer gaming segment will have a certain number, but the value will always be less. The console gaming market, which is the plug and play, gives you a much better experience in terms of a gaming experience. A lot of people will shift towards that. Every product has its own price point. Means you cannot say there are why is the LCD player at a price which is so different from a 14-inch. But it's the way when you address a market in terms of the price point, whether you address the full price tree. So if you look at the PlayStation range as compared to any of the competition, we have a complete range. You have an entry-level gaming console at 6990, which is a PlayStation 2. You have a very high badge value portable PlayStation Portable at 8990. Now you have the PlayStation 3 at 29990. Perhaps when the 40 GB comes in, they will be at a price that is lower than this. So you have the whole tree for a customer to choose from. Yes, whether we would like the prices to come down further, every customer would like to. From the company side, we would love to, but you have to also take into account the fact that there is an import duty content that you have to take care of. In India, the PlayStation or the gaming console range is not yet in a favorable zone of import duty content. It attracts almost 35% import duty, which is a bit difficult to tackle. But in terms of us trying to reach price points which is closer to the unofficial channel, in line with what is happening in the European market prices, we will always strive to do that. We will take every steps. We will cut every part of our business process which is adding cost without adding value, to bring you the prices which we can do in the market. The other part of the PlayStation or a gaming console thing is, what is true in Indian market is the running cost of the products. One is the initial investment and another is the running cost. We have also looked at the running cost, and therefore the softwares now start from 499 rupees. It's 499 rupees onwards. It is possible only because we have started replicating in India. So we have started with the PlayStation range because it has a wider base, but we are serious about India market, and therefore we are replicating now in India. Almost 50 to 60% of the titles will be available below a price point of 1000 rupees.